Well, you join us in the midst of our planning because we've got a real dilemma at the moment. We've got to replan our route because of the weather. The rivers are flooded, the lake's got loads of water in it, and it's just a nightmare. But the good news is we've made it here to Woodford now. Woodford is an interesting place, not far from Portumna, if you want to look on your map, near to the shores of Loch Derg. And this is a new fishery that's been set up. It's called Angle Grove. This is one of the first places in Ireland to actually stock with carp.
There's not many carp waters in the country at all. You probably count them on one hand, so this is very, very unusual, really.
We've come here actually mainly for the good tench fishing and the possibility of bagging up, because the problem is in getting from Loch Corrib to Woodford, our keep net now stands at a big fat zero. We've used up all of our miles, so we've got a lot of work to do, a lot of fish to catch. We need to build that keep net back up to take us through what are going to be, I think, difficult times. Come on, let's
get on with it. Stop talking about it.
Bit of hemp, pellets, some nice red maggots, followed by a garnish of sweet corn. So I'm using copolymer line, 5.4 pounds, which might seem a bit heavy, but I need to stand a reasonable chance of landing it.
Well, up to now I've been fishing the pole the same as Matt, and I've had a couple of tench. They probably weigh about £3 between them, so that's going to get us a few more miles. I have noticed there's a few carp moving in the reeds at the side of me. I've changed over to a running line on a normal waggler rod. Let's hope we get the chance of hooking one of them.
Well, we've got off to an absolutely cracking start. I had a fish on the first put in, a small carp, and I've just started to catch tench now as well. Here he comes. Now this is, believe it or not, one of the smaller tench in the lake. They grow to pretty impressive sizes, certainly above £5, so I can't wait to latch into one of those. But that's a very nice fish. And they're great for us because they're building weight very quickly. Barbless hook, easy to take out, lovely jubbly. To keep the swim ticking over, I'm just putting out bait after every fish, and that seems to be working very, very well.
All the tench I've caught so far have been on pieces of worm, and that's another mile and a half onto our journey.
Well, I'm into the best fish of the day now, or at least the best one I've kept on. It's coming towards the late afternoon and the fishing's really picking up now. I'm hoping we'll get into one or two of the bigger fish. This looks like a small carp, actually. It is. Oh, he's really hanging on. Got him. Well, that's a bit bigger than the other carp I had. It's a little common. Very valuable points on the board, this one. There he is. Nice fish. That's 3.5, maybe even £4. It's a very solid, stocky little fish. Very nice.
Well, it's not going particularly great in my swim. I've got 4 tench. They probably weigh, I should think, 5, maybe £6 between them. But I have had a bit of a messy old day today. I can't get my tackle right. I've now stepped up to heavier tackle, having been snapped off twice on light tackle. And I'm just hoping still to hook one of them bigger carp. Let the fun begin.
A nice tench. There it goes. That'll do. That's valuable points on the board. Very pleased with this. These are actually quite nice sized fish for building a weight because they're not so big that you get massive problems with them, but they weigh, £1.5, £2 each. Good bagging up fish. How goes it, Sir M?
You know when you have one of them days when you should have stayed in bed? I've snapped off 3 times in the lilies.
Nice fish.
I've bust the elastic on my pole and I think I'm really going to go for it now.
I'm definitely giving them a bait that they want, and I'm dropping it into a nice little crescent area. I'm feeding regularly after every fish, it seems to be working very well. It's fairly straightforward fishing, to be perfectly honest. Just ship the pole out, drop the float in over the ground bait and just hold it there. They're really nice thick fish, these. The elastic usually wins out in the end. 2-pounder, very much.
We could do with a few more of these.
Yes, very nice bar of soap, that one. Well, as the session's gone on, I've started to get into one or two of the bigger fish. I've had a couple of carp and some nice tench, fish to over 3 pounds. And I'm not quite sure at this stage exactly what we've got in the keep net. It's hard to judge, but I think it's a fair weight. Mick thinks he's got about 12 pounds. I think I've got around about 35, maybe 40. So that's a very good way to fish at this stage. And I don't think we should hang around for much longer. Maybe we will give it another 20 minutes more fishing and then do the weigh-in and get on our way, because this place has definitely served its purpose. It's a shame to leave it while it's fishing so well, but remember, we're in a race against time. We've got 30 days in total to complete the whole journey, so we can't hang around places for too long. And here's another nice tench now. Yeah, that's a nice fish. Probably around about 3 pounds, 2 3/4, 3 pounds. Very nice weight builder. Valuable miles on the clock there. Really nice.
Well, I've just had a nice one here. We could do with a few more of these though, to bump the weight up. Look at that for a tench. Whacker.
Well, I'm playing a fish now that I've had on for about 5 minutes, and I tell you what, it's nowhere near beaten yet. Just watch this puppy fly. The elastics flying out all over the place. It's been right across the lilies over there. It's been into the left. It's really given me the runaround. It feels like a very nice fish. This is the one to finish the session on if I can get it, because it's got to weigh several pounds. The way it's fighting, it's really hanging on. It's absolutely fantastic fight. Just zinging about all over the pool, and I'm trying to control it with the elastic, but man, it's giving me some grief. And it really is exciting playing a big fish on the pole. It's fantastic. It's a bit hairy, and I wouldn't want to do it if I was deliberately going out to catch specimen fish, because I don't think my heart could take it, but it really is brilliant. I'm gradually managing to get down through the sections, but this fish isn't beaten yet. I can only assume it's a carp. Here he comes. And I'll say this, these Irish carp are very, very hard fighting fish. Got him. Well, that's definitely got to be it. We've fished a good few hours here now, and I think we've built up a decent weight of fish. There she is, about 4 or 5 pounds of nice carp, and that is a great way to finish. Well, there you go, Sir M. I've got the scales on 0 for you, so I'm all ready to see what you've got. Let's get them in. Not being very cooperative, Sir M. There we go. Well, I've got these on 0, so there you go. That's pretty good. According to that, it's 17 pounds 5 ounces.
Brilliant.
Well done, sir. You're going to slip those ones back now?
Yep. Good. Well, that's going to get us well on our way, but I've got a feeling Matt's done a little bit better than me. Oh my goodness.
We weigh in a couple of batches.
Yeah.
Like bars of soap, tench, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, there's 28 pounds in that lot alone.
We've got a few more to come yet, mate. We've got 28 for the first batch, Sir M. But that's £30.5.
Yeah.
58.5, isn't it?
Yeah.
Plus these. A lot of small carp here, Sir M. But they do build up the weight.
Yeah. 18, 14.
77 and a quarter roughly.
Yeah.
Plus your 17.
77, 87. We're not going to get it right to an ounce. I reckon that's about 94 pounds, give or take an ounce.
Well, Mick, we started today with £0
Yeah.
in the keep net and we finished a day later with plus 94. I think you could say that was a successful visit.
That's an amazing category.
Put it there, son. Well, we've used 8 miles to get here, which means we've got basically 86 miles left in the keep net. And this is the Kappa River. It's a small tributary that flows into the Shannon system through Loch Derg. And I've never fished here before. It looks wonderful, but I've no idea what to expect. And I'm really looking forward to fishing it. Well, I've decided to trot this section of the river.
As for me, I'm off to do a bit of pike fishing. Now, the method I'm going to use for these pike is actually fly fishing.
I'm going to give it a few hours and just trot some maggots, maybe put in a bit of ground bait.
Instead of putting a spinner on the wire trace, I'll put on a pike fly.
And I'll just try it and see what turns up.
And this should be the perfect method for this shallow, streamy water. I've covered all the water on this stretch that's easy to get down to, but I haven't seen a sign of anything. Certainly haven't seen any pike. I've seen a couple of small fish coming up for the mayfly, but I suspect they were quite small trout. So there doesn't seem to be much life in this stretch of the river at all. I'm pretty happy with the way I'm fishing. I just don't feel good about this. We might be wasting time. I think we should move on.
I'm coming to the same conclusion as Mick. I fished here for about an hour and a half with absolutely no joy. It's such a beautiful stretch of river. I can't believe there's no fish in it. I'm not going to give up on it yet. I'm going to have a wander upstream. Well, I'm gutted because I thought I was going to be in for a bit of mayfly fishing here, and it is the time of year to catch trout. Well, I've seen one fish rise on this little river, and I know it's not a very big trout. It's only a small one, but I'll admit that I've become obsessed with trying to catch it. It probably only weighs about half a pound, but it steadfastly refused every fly I've put to it, and I know that I've put the fly over it well on several occasions. When you're fishing quite a fast-flowing bit of water like this, you get this thing called drag, and that's basically caused by the current pulling a bow into your line and dragging the fly around at an unnatural speed. And the fish know the difference. So what we're trying to achieve with the fly is a dead drift. And to do that, I've been putting little upstream mends in the fly line as soon as the fly lands, just to give me several seconds before the current straightens out that slack and basically drags the fly away faster than the natural insects that are landing on the water. So I know that I've got several good presentations to this little fish, but I haven't been able to fool him. I've tried spent patterns, green drakes, grey wolves, humpies. Whatever he's taking, he ain't taking my fly, and yet I've seen him take at least one spent. So he's a clever little fish, all right. There's the mend, and it just gives me just an extra few seconds of the fly going at the speed of the current, which is exactly how the fish will expect to take it. And you know, the thing with brown trout is that if you present the fly unnaturally by dragging it through, you'll very, very rarely get a fish rise to take it. It has to come through on a dead drift.
Do you want to give it another hour, or do you want to move on?
I think we might as well move on unless we see something when we walk back down.
Yeah.
This is Portumna. That's the main town bridge behind us. The river here is very wide, it's deep, it's fairly steady. It's actually carrying a little bit of extra water at the moment, and it seems as good a place as any to spend the last couple of hours of light just trying to pick up the odd bonus fish to top up that net.